Welcome to Billy Ho's Sports. We're covering the undercard for this Saturday's Stephen Foster Stakes. We have about four undercard races I'm going to cover. I'm not going to do the very last race, but the other four are pretty important, and I'll kind of recap at the end, so stick around. I'm recapping the Stephen Foster. So what we have on the undercard, we have the ladies, Fleur de Lis, and we have that's a grade two Wise Dan. Then we have a couple smaller stakes, American Derby and Kelly's Landing Sprint, that I'll cover as well. So buckle up. We're going to get to them all. So I got to go kind of quick. So please subscribe, like, and leave some comments below and tell me what you're thinking for this weekend as we head over to Ellis Park. So let's get started. Okay, we are going to start with the American Derby. And I believe that's race 3 on the card. Don't quote me on that, but it's a mile and a 16th on the turf. 3-year-olds, 6-horse field. The one horse is the favorite, or one of the favorites, Mustache, 2-1, trained by Victoria Oliver and ridden by Luis Saez. Mo last ran on Derby Day in the American Turf Grade 2 at Churchill Downs. Very strong effort, as we're looking at right here. Just trying to win on the front end. Sometimes you can't always do that on the turf, and was not able to hold the lead. But the winner of this race, Web Slinger, was actually a horse that Mustache beat in the previous race. So I think that Mustache is very classy here. A little bit more actually than the 2-horse we're going to talk about, Wadsworth. Wadsworth is 9-5 in the morning line favorite, but it is Brad Cox, Florent Giroux. He ran second to the number 4 horse, Gigante, 4-1 at the Horseshoe, and then ran a distant 4th place to 2 fills at the Jeff Ruby Stakes. So Gigante is trained by Steve Asmussen and ridden by Tyler Gaffalione, one of my favorite jocks. It's by the way, it's these three, in my opinion. Wadsworth's ability to close might get him up on the end. But then you have Mustache and Gigante. So those are the three that we're going to go with. I'll recap this later on. The next up is Kelly's Landing. That's the sprint for 6.5 furlongs. And really, we're just going to go right out of the gate with the 2-1 favorite, Bango, trained by Greg Foley, ridden by Tyler Gaffalione. T-Gaff is going to have this one out quickly. He's run a 107 and 109 Equibase speed figures in his last 2. His main competition is Tejano Twist, the 7-horse, who he beat soundly in the Aristides sprint. So you can see how well Bango ran this race and how far back the 2-horse was as we're looking at it right now. The 7-horse Tejano Twist is trained by Chris Hartman, and Francisco Arienta will ride him. Now, the 4-horse is the Doug O'Neill's Happy Jack, coming in at 5-1. And this horse ran, if you remember back to last year, ran in the 2022 Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, but didn't really fare very well. So he's into Sprint Company this year and has one race under his belt and ran a pretty strong second with a big late rally and just didn't quite get up. But that was 6 furlongs, and then we're stretching out to 6.5 here. So that extra half is going to be a good bet. He's going to be somewhere in the exacta trifecta. So also the 3-horse Miles Ahead is the other main contender. Paul McGee, Martin Garcia riding. So I think about a 2-3-4 exacta box in this race looks like a plan to me. The next up is going to be the Fleur de Lis for the ladies. And now Fleur de Lis, fillies 4 years old and up, going 1 1/8 on the dirt. And to change it up a bit, we're going to look at some past performances for this particular race. Starting with the number 1 horse, Bellamore, is returning to dirt, which I like the kind of the turf to dirt angle. So he may improve after that 5th place finish in a grade 1 game league, believe out at Santa Anita. Simon Calhoun trains, Martin Garcia rides. I think the number 2 Moonswag, the number 3 Royal Take Charge, and the number 4 Soul of an Angel off, weaker, beaten by weaker, not quite the quality. So I'm going to pass on them. And we're going to jump right to the number 5, Pauline's Pearl, who seems like a pretty good fit here. Ran 6th in the La Troyenne on Derby Day, fresh off 50 days rest. Steve Asmussen usually has them ready. Joel Rosario can ride. So I like that one. But the favorite, probably in my pick and your pick too, is probably going to be Amore. That's Amore is the favorite and my pick to win the race. She ran 4th in the La Troyenne and was the 10th horse. If you're watching this, and the 9 horse was, I believe, Pauline's Pearl. And you can see Pauline's Pearl is actually in better position coming around here. But the 10 horse Amore, sitting second to last, makes a better move, just gets hung a little bit too far outside, but comes back inside and weaves her way and improves position. In a big grade 1 race like the La Troyenne, I can appreciate that. The 9 horse Pauline's Pearl was kind of swallowed up down the stretch. Then on to, I believe, the 7 horse is Joe Sharp's Hardy Constitution, and he will be ridden by Tyler Gaffalione. She's coming off 3 straight wins against probably weaker competition, but moving over from the turf to the dirt and getting a hot jockey, and will garner probably a little bit of value in the field, I do believe. She's going to need a huge step up to compete with this class here, but I think she can do it. The 8 horse Music Street is probably going to be a toss for me. So what I think I'll do, just off first look before I made a final decision, is the 6 on top and then the 157 underneath. So you could go 6, 157, 157. So exacta or trifecta. Key 6 on top. Now, the Wise Dan. We'll finish it off here real quick. I'm glad I'm going fast. Mile and a 16th race on the turf, 10 horse field, and the big favorite is the number 8 horse Set Piece. Pimp of all pimp trainers, Brad Cox, Florent Giroux combined off the win at the Arlington Stakes. And I love a horse on the turf. If you can see this closing, this is the kind of turf race I like to see to horses close. They hit that final stretch and then hit that stride on the outside, and they run right by them at the end. That's always the best route to take in a turf race, in my opinion. So anyway, he's going to be in the mix. And then the 1 horse who he beat is the 1 horse in this race. I'm sorry, Get Smoking is the 4 horse in the Wise Dan. So make note of that. But the 1 horse in the race that I showed you, and I'll show it to you again, is Get Smoking, and he was leading on the lead and was the best of the rest. But being able to run like that on the lead in a turf race is also pretty solid if you think you can wire the field. So he has to be considered. The number 5 Play Action Pass I think will move up off his last effort, which was his first of the season. So I like the 5 Play Action Pass. I also like the 10 Hosier. I guess that's Hosier. He's going to step up in class, but Julian Leperoux is just a classy turf jock from way back. The man's got patience. He knows how to ride. The last horse I'll mention is the 6 horse Kitten Set. Maybe use underneath. I'm a kind of a sucker for those American Pharaoh progenies. So I like that. So it's key the 8 on top of the 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. Exacta trifecta. Or if you want to dig in and try to beat the 8, you're more than welcome to do so. I just think that the 8's a tough ask. And, I might do a little bit of wheeling and dealing on some other bets to include other horses. But that's just kind of how I sees it. And here, the final look of the betting card, which includes the Stephen Foster, who I'm going 156, and then I'm over the 1356 exacta and trifecta for that race. So that's going to sum it up on the Stephen Foster Stakes Day card. Best of luck to you if you're playing. Play responsibly. And until the next video, we'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.